Well, now to a developing story in Baltimore where this afternoon jurors acquitted a 16-year-old of first and second degree murder, but found him guilty of voluntary manslaughter in the death of Timothy Reynolds. The teen was one of several squeegee workers Reynolds confronted with a bat near the Inner Harbor last year. WJZ investigator Mike Helgren breaks down the verdict from the Mitchell Courthouse.
Jurors spared the teen a murder conviction, but he's still facing more than 3 decades behind bars unless his defense attorneys can successfully petition the judge to bring this back to juvenile court. Jurors believed the now 16-year-old defendant pulled the trigger and shot Timothy Reynolds, but rejected that it was premeditated murder. Defense attorneys say that's because Reynolds had a bat when he confronted the defendant and other squeegee workers.
Well, this is clearly a heart-wrenching case on both sides, and our condolences go out to the Reynolds family. There's tension and tears in the courtroom leading up to the verdict. But the family is thankful for the jury's very close review.
The question was asked who my brother was, and I just wanted everyone to see it for themselves.
Reynolds' sister held up his picture as her family's attorney spoke.
The person who was responsible for his murder has been convicted of killing him. And that brings a small measure of closure and justice to this family, which is what they've always wanted.
WJZ is not naming the defendant because of his age. In addition to voluntary manslaughter, he was found guilty of 2 firearms offenses, using a gun in a crime of violence and while under age 21. The maximum penalty is 35 years total, but his defense will ask that he be sentenced as a juvenile.
After we actually heard the verdict, I re-emphasized that, listen, it's not too bad. We're able to ask the court to put this case in juvenile court.
There is going to be an opportunity to make arguments to the judge for what an appropriate sentence is in a case like this. This man, remember, he was a young man, but he went and recovered a gun, he went and pulled down a mask, and he shot him 5 times, 3 or 4 times in the back.
After an emotional trial and tense wait for the jury's decision, the Reynolds family held hands and walked together away from the courthouse.
You got to respect the fact that the jury has reached a consensus that this is the man that killed him, and he's going to be held accountable for that.
Jurors deliberated for about 13 hours. A sentencing date has not been set. At the Mitchell Courthouse, Mike Helgren, WJZ.